Hey everybody, I just wanted to check in. Starting to feel more like myself as the days go by. I did a consultation group that I'm in last night that was really powerful. It's actually with Dr. Howard Schubiner, who I highly recommend getting into his work. I have his book underneath my computer. I would show it to you, but it's holding my computer up. Unlearn Your Pain. Um, Mind body work around like the brain, lots of neuroscience. And I did that consultation group yesterday. And then he used me as a demo for this process. It's like an emotional process. And I just released so much. And I actually feel a lot better today. I felt more like myself. So this last few days, I've been able to sit out in the living room and watch TV and not have to be lying in bed, so I have more energy. I continue to not go for any walks or do exercise other than just a little like salsa around the house, just very mild. And I think maybe that's been helping. I don't know. I don't want to risk exercise right now because that's how I kind of put myself back into really bad waves. So I'm not sure. I guess my body will just know when it knows. I think I'm trying to be just a little bit more trusting of like the bottom up. Like my brain doesn't have to come up with ways and strategies, but maybe my body will just kind of let me know when it's ready. So yeah, I've been able to do some admin. I have less cog fog, more executive functioning. So, yeah, I definitely feel inspired by this. And even if I go back into some bad waves again, just knowing that this is even possible, I feel a lot better and more like myself. I can just feel that like self back. Yeah, it was really bad for a couple of months, like pretty epically horrific. The beginning of it was definitely the worst and lots of ups and downs. So again, I don't know what's going to happen if, I can go back into it. I don't know what this whole like setback is going to be like. But I feel just more myself. So I think that's a good sign. I think also just to remember that intensity does not equal duration. And I say this all the time, but it's so important. That's a Baylissa-ism. But yeah, it's like, you could be in the most horrific wave of your life and it could literally break overnight, which is what I've found. I also really think the mind body stuff's been helping, like the Gupta program. I've been definitely doing a lot of the neural retraining. And I think neural retraining, there is something to it. We can rewire our brains. Also, being in that class, Dr. Becca Kennedy's class, and just really hearing her talk about long COVID as like a mind body syndrome. I've already been in that world for so long. I've already like drank the Kool-Aid. I believe in these syndromes. I believe that we can, resensitize our nervous systems and have these setbacks, not because like for myself personally, I don't feel like my GABA was downregulated. I feel like I was healed like before COVID. And what happened is that the neural networks became like rekindled or resensitized is really what that means. And it's just taken a while for my brain to become less sensitive. And I'm just doing all the things to really help that, like the mindfulness meditation, the neural rewiring, lots and lots of rest, lots of comfort to those worried parts of myself, the anxiety brain. Like, it's a lot. It's like a full-time job to get through this stuff. But yeah, I don't think there's any damage. I think that's where in this place where I'm at, I'm 6 years off, 4 years from the setback. I don't think there's damage. There's no brain damage. There's no damage. And that's a word that I think the GABA injury was my way I talked about that for a really long time, like this injury. And I do think that our brains and bodies become injured from those drugs. Like I'm 100% convinced of that. I don't think that there's like a way in which you can put something in your body for a certain amount of time that changes neurochemicals, changes neurotransmitters, take that out and not have some kind of damage or injury or something that, needs to regrow. However, it's eventually going to come the time where your body does come back to homeostasis and stick in homeostasis for a long period of time. And if it becomes resensitized, I think that is those learned neural networks that are flaring again, not the damage from the drug. I could be totally wrong. Please push back on me if you think that's BS, but that's just what I've started to really glean from these people that I've been studying with and who really have their fingers on the pulse of neuroscience. I think I have a little bit of a finger on a pulse of it, but they really do. And it makes sense. It tracks. Like it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. It makes sense that protracted withdrawal and long COVID and these all kinds of other syndromes are because of the fear center of the brain that, makes all these crazy symptoms. Like the fear center of the brain, the amygdala, and the neurotransmitters that it produces, or that it sends out this warning signal, and the brain produces these really intense chemicals. And those chemicals are meant for us to have, access to fight or flight. And that's important for our survival, but it gets stuck, and it just keeps pumping. So you're filled with these chemicals, cortisol, adrenaline, norepinephrine. It's like too much. And you can feel it in your body. Like that's what I felt like when I had COVID. That's what I felt like post-COVID. It's starting to die down, but it was just this like pushing out of too much of that. And then of course you get scared. So that's the whole thing about the neural retraining programs like Gupta, DNRS, or even this mind-body work of say Dr. Schubiner or Nicole Sachs, or, it's like we get really scared of these symptoms. Actually, let me just take the mind-body stuff out, because I feel like that has another component of like our emotions and our unconscious mind, which is another thing. So, but I digress. So getting scared of the symptoms makes the symptoms worse. And that is true of, even just a taper, like a medication taper. When you're scared of the symptoms, it's going to get worse. It always did for me. So that really tracks, and it has me think that there's no damage, there's no tissue damage, there's no structural damage, there's nothing that's going wrong. In fact, it's actually weirdly going right. It's just that we have to learn how to say it's okay. It's okay. It's okay, body. It's okay, mind. I am safe. These sensations, although they are horrific, they will not harm me. And starting to use some like biohacking, brain hacking science to get out of sympathetic and into parasympathetic, which is really hard, and it takes time, and it can take a long time, which this has been taking me quite a long time, and I have to work on it every single day. So I'm going to leave it at that. I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. I don't know what tonight's going to bring. I'm actually still having an issue with this eye. This eye has been a problem since this all happened, and I can feel it right now. It's like it gets a little tingly, but, I need to put my fake tooth. I do have a fake tooth for this. I'll get that on hopefully in the next video as I'm starting to feel better. But yeah, anyway, I just want to send some love to everybody today. Anybody who's suffering, anybody who's in a setback or confused or just having thousands of symptoms all at the same time. I so know what you're going through. I've been there too many times to count. And if you have any questions about anything that I've said in this video, please do leave it in the comments, and I'll be happy to respond, since I'm not really doing a whole lot right now. So happy to respond to you. And always, as usual, keep it sweet, keep it safe, keep it positive. no scary stuff in the comments. So yeah, thank you so much. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.